So we'll have what appears to be a nice camellia with an interesting trunk, but it's sitting here at the base of this very large, I'm guessing, camphor?
No, it's an oak.
Oh, is it an oak? Okay, they're way up there, can't see the leaves. It's a big old oak tree right here that two people couldn't put their arms around. And then we got this tree here in the roots right up by the fence. So we're gonna see if we can't figure a way to get that out of there and get at least some of the roots and give it a shot at a life as a bonsai. So here we go. Okay, so here we've got it ringed out. And we found some major roots, so we'll go through them hopefully with the Sawzall and see if we can't get that tree loosened up a little bit. Little stage right here, we've gotten underneath the tree, and I think we've gotten the taproot disconnected, and the tree is moving. As you can see, it's wedging itself back here, so now we just need to get to the other side, reduce a few more roots from the other side, and I think we'll be hopefully out of the ground. So let's see. See, the root system on this thing is pretty hefty. There we go. Let's turn it around here. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Sawzall. That's our base root right there. That tree's been in the ground a year or two, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna remove some of the old soil, some of the nearby roots that aren't part of the tree, and we can put some of this back in the hole we just made. And it'll lighten our load getting home. When we get home, we can get it in some good bonsai soil and treat the roots with some hormones so that'll help develop some new roots. So in here, there's a nice trunk. Got some nice deadwood parts right here. That's gonna make a nice feature. We got some taper down here lower. So all these surface roots belong to something else, not this tree. Go this way. It makes this like a little skirt right around it. There, that can go away.
Well, that wasn't part of it, huh?
Yep. This is what we're after down here. These guys are part of this tree. And these are gonna be important roots. See the white on them right here. So those are healthy feeder roots, and that's what's going to feed the tree from here. So now we can go set it in the truck. Come here, you're moving. You haven't moved in, I don't know, probably 20, 30 years. How's it feel to be moving? All right, That's probably the size container. Come on in and show you the size of the container. We'll probably use something like that. It's possible it could go into that bucket. It's also possible it might reduce down to this size. So we'll see when we get home and clean up the roots. It'll either go into this mortar mixing tray, this mica pot, or this plastic pot. And I'm thinking maybe this plastic pot, because it's deep, set it down in there and get some good soil around it, and then nurse it back to health. So we'll see how tall we want to keep it. Might want to bring it down. There's a long stretch of thinness here, but we'll get it healthy first. That's the first order of business. So thank Brian. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Dave.
So we've got it home, sitting in a little bit of Super Thrive, washed off the roots, pruned it back a little bit further. Clearly the tree has reverse taper to the trunk, but maybe we can work that over the years with new growth. So the next step will be to let it soak in some of this for a few minutes and start preparing what pot we're going to put it in for growing. Okay, I've decided to go with this pot. So we'll put in a layer of Bonsai Jack Organic Universal Mix soil for a drainage layer. Smooth it around. We're going to add in a little bit of Milorganite into that, spread that around in there, and a handful, a scoopful of Hollytone in there as well. And then we'll mix it all in there, and this will be our drainage layer. So now a little test fit into the pot. Let's see if it's going to fit, if the major roots have been trimmed away. And a little bit of selection up top to bring it in balance with what roots are remaining. Now we'll get it potted up. All right, so now we'll get it into its training pot. We put in our drainage layer of Bonsai Jack organic soil and some Milorganite and some Hollytone fertilizer. Now we're going to add a middle layer, and we're going to mix some of D&L's red brick aggregate along with Bonsai Jack, mix it together, and that'll be our middle layer. I've made a little mound with the middle layer of bonsai soil mix. Now we'll lift the tree. Pardon the camera for a minute. It's sort of heavy. And we'll set it in the pot. Make sure we got about the right height. And then we're going to just kind of wiggle it on into that mound of soil so it gets way up deep into the roots. So now I have the tree positioned in the pot about the height I want it. I've tucked in as much of the feeder roots as I can down where they'll be below the soil level. And now I'll add some more of that middle level mix of D&L Nursery bonsai soil and Bonsai Jack. So we'll add that on in there all the way around. And then we'll chopstick it on in, get it down in nice and tight between the roots and get out all the air pockets we can. So I'll continue around the tree adding more and more of that soil mix. Just shy of the top layer, which will go with total brick D&L nursery soil on the top. It's heavier and doesn't float away as easily. So as we get ready to add the final layer of soil, I noticed the tree is the host to a colony of ants, probably living in the dead wood of the tree. So we'll mix in a little bit of this triazicide insecticide, along with a little bit more of Milorganite and a little more Hollytone. Mix that on in with the red brick, and we'll mix that into the topsoil and see if we can't convince those ants to go somewhere else. So I've got it in the pot now, and sprayed for ants and other insects, put in the triazonide side, and I also added a little orthene spray, a little more of a systemic, get that in there. And then finally I'll put a little slow release fertilizer on the surface, just kind of sprinkling a little bit there so we got some slow release mixed into the soil, ready to do its thing when needed. And now we'll water it in a little bit. Okay, got it outside here, ready to water it in a little bit. Get that soil good and moist. Get all those fertilizers activated. And let that soil get nice and moist. And we'll keep it in the shade and keep it well watered for the next few weeks. And hopefully we'll see a little new growth before the really cooler weather sets in, and then we'll protect it all winter from the coldest of the weather, since it'll be very vulnerable. And then hopefully next spring, when time comes for it to take off, it'll be ready to grow in its nice new surroundings. So there you go.